Yo, what's good, everybody? This is gonna be a dog of a trade recap, bro, because we have some shit to run through, some great ass lessons, bro. So, without further ado, to check this out, right? This is the trade I took today. Crazy, crazy textbook trade. Literally, like this is like a specimen of an opportunity, bro. So, I just want to run through these things, look at pretty much this, and at the end we'll go back to the diagram. And then, so first I want to tell you is through the day how I made my decisions, why I took this trade. Then after that, I want to run through these final little things that I think there's some great lessons of, of just like great ways that price works and how we can recognize it and how our system and toolkit can align with that, right? So pretty much, let's hop in, bro. So bigger time for my NQ. Let's check this out first. We open the day, and I think it's pretty obvious, y'all, that we are bullish, right? Let's check out our bias for the day, right? We open the day with this big high that we left about 2 weeks ago. Now we're coming back, right? And we pretty much place in these relative equal highs, like so close, bro. This is like a couple points off. Like, let's look, literally 3-4 points off, bro. That's crazy close, and that's giving me a lot of conviction. Combined with this crazy bullish momentum in the overnight session in the past couple of days, it's giving me conviction that we're gonna go higher and run to the upside, right? So even on a day with conditions where we have FOMC tomorrow and we're going to expect kind of lower action for the first part of the week and then wait for the rest of the week, even on a day like that, bro, we can still look at price and understand, hey, I want to see this move. And if the move is presented with the ability to be efficient, we can still take it, right? So coming in, have this really great sign for my drawn liquidity. Everything looks bullish here because we opened the market somewhere around here, but the only reason that this could be bearish, and some people might have been short biases because we had an SMT here. So this is where I want to talk about SMT logic, right? SMTs have a job. Every single SMT has a job. Have you ever heard someone say, yeah, that's the SMT high, bro. That's protected, right? That's where I'm placing my stop loss at the SMT high because that's a protected high, the protected low. It's protected until the SMT does its job, right? So let's look. If we have a model like this, right, or say we just have kind of some manipulation move, we're drawing this out, right? And then we have an SMT over here with like another low that was like maybe like this or something. And then from there, we're watching and we're saying, okay, now this low should be protected. I don't want to see this come back to before this high gets taken, right? So now once this high gets taken, this can once again be something like where this is just a very simple little stop rate, and then we're going to just run lower and not take this low. But we took this low now because it's no longer protected after the SMT did its job, which we can discern by price action that the job of the SMT was to go take this high, right? We've all seen some types of signatures like this before with fair value gaps or with whatever, right? So now coming in, we're trying to figure out what is the job of this SMT. A lot of times we will see SMTs like this form in the overnight session, and they simply just work to rebalance price because they're against the bigger time frame draw to a point at which we can bounce and continue the bigger time frame model, right? So walking in with that little piece of intuition and then using what I'm actually seeing the charts do, that's a really good way that I was able to discern today, right? So seeing that, I'm trying to figure out, is my thesis correct, right? What conditions do I need to figure out? Is my thesis correct that this SMT is only going to matter or is not going to matter simply because its job is to just rebalance us and then allow us to make this nice move, right? So what I'm trying to do to figure out there is look at, if this SMT was true, right, what's going to hold? So if the SMT is true and we're going to run lower from here, we should be holding a level like this, right? Because let's start changing the state. Maybe here, maybe we should be holding our points of interest along the continuous legs down, right? So a point of interest in this continuous leg down is our 5-minute right here, right? So when market opens and pushes lower right here, we make turtle soup right here, we push lower. Okay, now I'm trying to figure out, are we going lower or higher today? I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what's going to show me that. Okay, maybe my change in the state somewhere down here. It's like a bigger time frame change. This could hold. What else? Maybe my 5-minute fair value gap that just got open in that leg. Okay, what else? Maybe my first presented fair value gap here in NQ. All of this should hold if we are going to be bearish into continuous lower. So when I see that get ran through, that gives me a great deal of confidence to go ahead and take an entry, right? So the bullish thesis is there, right? I simply just want to see the regular game plan of manipulation away from the draw, and then we run back higher to the drawn liquidity, right? So opening today, when we have all of this generated liquidity right here, what kind of manipulation do I want to see, right? I want to see some type of manipulation back inside this range, right? Now let's start adding our sessions back in. I want to see maybe London low get taken, maybe Asia low get taken. Probably want to see back to equilibrium of this nice range right here, simply because it's just so clean, right? Something like this, right back to equilibrium would be clean. And then as well, I normally don't do this, but on days like this, you have to give it credit. When you have a lot of when you have legs right here and you can zoom into some type of an intermediate time frame where you can see a lot of clarity about what the price is doing within this nice big leg, and you can see one or two really nice big fair value gaps. Those are the ones that have a lot of weight because that's the real imbalance of price, especially when those levels, which they usually are generated at a point around equilibrium of the range, right? So right here, equilibrium of the range is placed in right within this fair value gap. Let's look what price does. It literally comes down, fills this boy almost pretty much to the tick entirely, and then pushes from there, right? And this is at around 940. So at this point, let's look at what price is doing. This is the next thing I want to cover. SMTs, right? They have a job like we talked about. So at this point, let's pull up the big diagram now. Let's check this out. At this point, we had an SMT, right? So 930 manipulation, we see this, boom, everything's nice. I want to see where's my smart money reversal and take a long, right? Because everything has told me that's my game plan. So at this point, I'm trying to figure out, what do I need to see to take a long? Normally the change in the state in all market order or, limit order, whatever it might be, stop at the low, looks great. But this time I want to be extra careful because at this point, once we made our change in the state, 942, checking out NQ, at 942, we had created a pretty big SMT right here where we are doing this, right? Now, NQ looks bearish. ES looks bullish. What's going to give me the correct idea, right? Obviously the bigger time frame, but even then we need these intermediate time frames to confirm and corroborate that what we believe is correct and actually what the chart's doing, right? So how do I do that? I wait for more information. Right, so this is one tool that I've been using a lot and it always just helps me a lot, right? Whether it still results in a loss or it allows me to stop and not take a loss, it's a great tool that I think we all should use, right? A lot of times we will see this formation play where we make a change in the state with relative displacement, but there's a reason why we might not trust it. Maybe the displacement's not that great. Maybe we don't have an inverse. Maybe we have an SMT like this, but our bias is so strongly bullish. What do? A lot of times we will generate a nice clean order block, right? And that order block is the thing that I want to see as my support zone once price runs through it, right? So if price is going to do something like this, right, where we generate that order block running lower and then we run through it, then we use it as support, that use of the order block will now be my entry. Because by doing that, what I'm pretty much doing is I'm waiting to place my orders until I see an extra leg of bullish momentum past the point where I would want to see us already be bearish, right? I'm going to say that one more time to really boil it down. What I'm doing by waiting for the order block to hold a support is waiting till I see another bullish leg at a point that invalidates price to be bearish, right? I'm seeing bullish momentum where I would want to see bearish momentum if we're going to go lower, right? So when I see that bullish momentum, that's showing us we don't want to go lower. And what do we want to do then? We want to align and show that what I'm believing is right, and that's to go higher. So that's when I'm looking to get involved, take the order block entry, and we bang, right? Really, really, really clean stuff. Second thing I want to look at right here is break-even point right here. Why is this my break-even point? Because this high is the SMT high, right? So if we check out NQ, where do we take full profits at NQ, right? It's going to be, if we can pull it up, this high right here. Why is it this high? Because that's the point where that's our big external high, right? So the market many times, like if this is a possibility, right? You always have to leave it open to possibility because the market can do whatever the hell it wants. It's our job to just insert ourselves and take advantage of whatever the move that happened was, right? So when I'm coming in, I have to recognize that the market can, and even though ES looks bullish, we can 100% do something like this, where we come up, we place in an SMT here, and then NQ wants to sell all the way lower. Like that's possible. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's possible, right? So at that point, I go break even, right? After that, I leave the full position to this high just because it was so clean and so convicted, so much volume. Really beautiful stuff, guys. And then, yeah, super sweet, right? So at the end of the day, bro, this was a bang of a trade, right? I'm trying to check out anything else. I think that was mostly everything I want to talk about, bro. This should be a pretty nice recap to look at a lot of really, really great ideas that are present within price action. Right here, I talked about runners. There's a good chance that you could leave runners on this day, and as you look, they end up playing, right? But the reason I don't leave runners is because at this point, if we just check out NQ or even ES, there's a big void between where we're at now and where the next big liquidity point would be, which leads me to want to see a lot more information before I can make decisions before I can make the decision of if price is going to continue running or not, right? So at this point at NQ, once we take this high, we have a lot of a void here pretty much, right? We have this high up here, but these are pretty much like there's a gap here where we can play around, take this big major level, do whatever the hell we want until we come back and take these highs then, right? So there's a huge, huge possibility that we just leave whatever's above. So at that point, I'm just saying, hey, bro, I'm break even. I already made a good amount of RR. You know, I'm chilling. I'm just going to take my position off, not care, right? But once again, we always have to use more information, see what price is doing. With this volume, I do think there's a bit of conviction simply just by reacting to the volume to maybe want to leave something to somewhere in between 2 to 2.5 or just 2 to 2.5. And as you look, it ends up playing, right? Super sweet trade, bro. Honestly, if you took these, super great. This was an okay opportunity right here to get involved here and then continuation that. This was around 5-minute CE, backseats for value gaps. Really nice. Just good bullish momentum until we got up to 2 to 2.5. That's pretty much our objective of the day. We end up playing around here and doing pretty much nothing else, right? So overall, bro, literally super textbook market maker model. This is everything that I want to see in a trade, boys. This is literally everything that I want to see. Super glad we were able to hop on and take a trade like this and bank for today. It's 1.1K. Super sweet day, bro, and I'm happy to call it. So I'm gonna catch you boys later. Thank you for hopping on. Hope you guys enjoyed a little bit, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.